Welcome back to IE Studio. Today we are going to talk about best art supplies for watercolor mandalas. We are going to start with papers, the most important art supply that you should be taking care of. So let's see which art paper do I prefer and which I do not for watercolor mandalas. So this is Chandra collection that we have in Fundala, and I researched a lot about the papers of what type of papers should we use in mandalas and what type of papers will people love to use in mandalas, and then I came out with two papers. One, this is your collection paper, which is totally smooth. If you can see, there is no toe to this paper at all. It is perfect, completely perfect for fine liners, very light washes of watercolors, and whatever, brush pens and whatever. Do not use tooth to spread. Whatever colors, do not use the texture of the paper to spread. So this is very perfect. We have a lot of sizes and shapes in this paper, and this is that. Secondly, we have a watercolor paper, especially for watercolor mandalas and watercolor landscape mandalas. This is Chandra collection. So this color is perfect for a lot of things, including acrylic, gouache, even fine liners to some extent. So this is the watercolor paper, 300 GSM. It is slightly textured. If you can see, I'll bring it very close. If you can see, it's slightly textured, so it holds the watercolor paints very well, and it can make up very good backgrounds. As you can see here, this is a galaxy, and I used so much of water in this, but it is holding. It is still straight. It did not bend. It did not get, it did not have any impression at the back. It's totally okay, and it is totally straight. So you can use as much water as you want in this. You can use as much paint as you want in this, and it will not budge. So this is the type of paper that I use for watercolor mandalas also. So smooth paper, the problem that you are going to face will be that it will not hold up the watercolor paint very well. And in some papers which are very highly textured like this, roughly textured, the paints will do well. You see the backgrounds here. I've also marked the colors. So you see the paints will do well, but the fine liners may not do very well. So the background will come up very nicely, but when you use the fine lines above, as we are going to make the mandala above it, it may not come beautifully, and it may not be easy for you to draw it. Okay, so the type of paper that we use for watercolor mandala is very lightly textured, and the paper which can hold a lot of water and paint. So this is Chandra collection that you can get at a very good discount at the store of Fundala. I'm going to mark it here so that you can buy it from there. Next, let's come to colors. Now in colors, these backgrounds are made with this paints. This is Art Philosophy paints and the confetti set. This is one of the most used sets that I've used in my watercolor mandalas. It has, do you see such bright colors? They come up exactly the same on paper. They are not very granulated, so whatever you say here will come out like the same on the paper. This is slightly expensive. If you can get a hand of this confetti set, we have many palettes in Art Philosophy like this vintage palette. This is one of my favorites because these are very light colors which come up very nicely in watercolor backgrounds like this. But if you do not want to spend a lot right now, you're just starting out and you don't want to spend, then this is one of the best set for you. So this is Brusto watercolor pocket set. It comes with a brush and all that, and this is the place where you can dry the brush if you're traveling and taking this along with you. It has whole lot of colors. It has a whole big range of colors, and the colors are also very fantastic. So you can see how much I've used this. The yellows and pinks and the basic colors are fantastic. You don't need to use any other set if you have this set. Difficult to find out which colors you've used or not. You just have to mark it on the paper so that you don't forget the next time. So this is something you can use if you're just starting out. Colors don't make up a lot of difference in watercolor mandalas. You can also use inks. They do very well when you use inks in place of watercolor pencils. There is a lot of difference between watercolor inks and colors, but that is for another time. That is a big deal, big thing. That let's take it another time. Now coming to the third part, that is the brushes. So you can have any brushes again, but when you're using watercolors, make sure you use a watercolor brush. This is Artyshills that I've been using, with acrylics, gouache, mainly gouache, and watercolors also to some extent. But after some time using it regularly, it may, the bristles may frail out and you may not get the type of blending. You see the blending here, it is so perfect. It can also come when the brush is very good. You can also use Escoda. If you're going a little above the range, you can get Escoda brushes. They are also very good, and they the bristles will stay intact. Howsoever you use, the bristles will stay very intact. They are also nice. Then comes the range which is a bit high, and you only want to use these brushes when you want to spend a bit. I just started buying them. I never bought them before, and I was doing very well, so that's okay. This is, of course, these are such perfect brushes. Silver velvet, and you get all these, you get it in all sizes and shapes and all. You can get Princeton heritage brushes. Those also do very well, but they are a bit pricey, and will take up a bit in your pocket. This brush is Brusto round brush 0. So I take Brusto brushes which are fine liners for making the trees and all that. So it has a set called miniature brushes, which is perfect, which are good to hold and easy to make. Like, they just work like a pen. So it is really good working with these brushes. So all in all these things, the paper, the brushes, the colors, all these things matter a lot when you're starting out. I won't say these are the only things that will define your artwork, but it will make a lot of difference if you start with above than average art supplies. So see you in the next video, where I'm going to tell you the basic tips and tricks, and then in the third day we'll start with the full artwork. Thank you.